So we're returning to our recent trip around northern Japan and continuing at a site with 5 World Heritage sites. This is a lake, a lake that was originally a lake for wealthy people, the emperors and whatnot. These beautiful place. It's raining now, drizzling. Now we're back in the Yukon for dinner, mushroom soup. That's our menu as usual. Each of these vertical, you read this left to right, read it down, and each of these is a course. This is the Japanese Wagyu beef. I've never liked this because I never ate it before, just put it on the grill and cooked it. It's actually incredibly delicious. It melts in your mouth. It doesn't look, there's a little plate to cook it. This is a typical little thing of sort of appetizers. That's some rice. That's some rice on something. I don't know. That's a pickled plum. I can't name what most of these things are, but they're delicious to eat. This is, of course, this is an abalone over here, a piece of probably hamachi and maguro and ebi shrimp, sake, some tempura here, a thing hotate scallops dishes. Steam coming up. This is chow mein. It's kind of a unsweetened custard with typically mushrooms and seafood in it. This is a more modern version of the toilet I showed you before, but again, in order to let you wash your hands at the toilet, when you flush the toilet, the filled water comes out here and you wash your hands in the filled water, which of course is clean, that goes into the tank. And it saves you having to put a sink in here. You got your little sink on top of here. There's the toilet, typical toilet control on the wall. That these buttons on the 4 corners energize different washing things, and then these are settings for temperature and strength and whatnot. Very typical Japanese. And this is a Japanese bath. We see with the typical, it's not too obvious, but the sloped floor toward the drains in the back. And again, you can overflow this on the floor without any problem. This is the onsen. I couldn't take pictures inside because we're not allowed to, but that's where the baths are in this thing. The men and women's side separate. And this is just ubiquitous. Every place you look, you see these rice fields. There's the entrance to the onsen. The red is, of course, the women's side, and they've got a little cartoon in case you're confused about this. And they switch it day to day back and forth because they're different. This is a breakfast buffet. You can see various kinds of fish. This is tamago egg. That's seaweed and vinegar. This is really delicious. This is fresh tofu. Japanese don't eat tofu that wasn't made the same day. So to go to a tofu shop in the morning and buy it, and there's one of my favorite dishes. You put ginger and scallions on it and show you. It's called hiyayako. This is some porridge, a little salad. And there's the typical compartmentalized tray. That's mine, I think, because I'm really fond of these umebashi, these little plums and fish and the tamago and some cucumber. There's the bigger picture with the, hey, Nico, welcome, with the Gohan. And these are
Oh,
dishes
thank
of
you.
natto. Junko's going to make that later. That's natto she's making. This is arguably supposedly one of the best, healthiest foods you can possibly eat, but you got to get used to eating this. It's slimy. It's so slimy when she picks up those chopsticks, it's going to have a trail 2 feet long.
Oh, wow.
So Westerners aren't used to eating slimy food, but about half of Japan, this is their favorite thing, and half of Japan hates this. Uh, Junko mixes it up with some mustard and onions. I've learned to sort of, I won't say I've learned to eat it and enjoy it, but I won't say it. It's not like I'm looking to grab a bite of it. It's more like it's good for you, so I eat it. Little diagram of the place. We're now in a gorge here again. This country's so mountainous. There's these gorges everywhere. Little waterfall. Gimbeke Gorge. This is a riot. These cookies are in a shop in Japan and Costco sells them. We buy these at Costco. So we serve them to people and say it's a Japanese cookie that you can get either in specialty shops in Japan or Costco Superior. We stopped here because this is a very famous wetlands and supposedly has millions of birds. On today, there was exactly one, but it's all set up for this viewing of this salt marsh and the lakes. This was the men's room or ladies' room up in the place. This is a baby washing station. It's a place to put children in the sink and wash them.
Oh, nice.
I've never seen this before. And there's right behind here, there's a crib. So you wash your kid off in the sink there and these seawalls everywhere. This is a national park, kind of beautiful place for the water comes rushing in here and a scenic spot. This is the Pacific coast. Junko said this looked good to her to eat. It didn't look good to me to eat, but anyway. For the typhoons, a little harbor. These are interesting little fishing boats, 25 horsepower motors.
Charlie, is this the same national park that we virtually visited with you last time? The
No,
old,
no, it's
it's
a different
different.
one.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, I figured because the green looks different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, we've gone from the Japan seaside over to the Pacific now.
Okay.
This perplexed me for a while, and then I figured out what this is. The two lanes of the highway have different speed limits. And that 100 is as fast as you're going to go in Japan. That's 60 miles an hour on a toll road. And the speed limit on the other side is 48. So there's no 80-mile-an-hour anything. And on the regular road, the speed limit's 50, which is 30 miles an hour. So everything's slow for safety. Temple built in 1609. Think about this, things that are built in the 1600s, still standing. Beautiful architecture. Of course, Buddha. These lovely statues. And of course, a Zen garden. This place, we're not allowed to take photos inside, but I could take this. And the rocks are all have meaning, how they're placed. And someone's coming in here and managing to rake this without leaving any footprints. Outdoors, I could take photos, but not indoors. This is, of course, a place where you take your shoes off for the whole thing. 1600s. I could take a picture, give you, inside was just a beautiful gold everywhere. That's me shooting a long lens through the entrance where a place I couldn't take a picture from indoors. I love these Zen gardens. It's mimicking a river. Now we're in a Japanese garden. The treasure of the Date clan, these people ruled, this was the warlord that ruled this whole area for a couple hundred years. And this is just one of the most amazing gardens I've ever been in. Just absolutely beautiful. And I get some idea of the gold interior.
Can I ask you a question, Charlie?
Sure.
You showed the Buddha statue. Is your family a Buddhist or?
Yes. So Japan was originally Shinto, and Shinto is God is everywhere. And so there are Shinto shrines, like the Torii Gate is entrance to a Shinto shrine.
Mm-hmm.
That was there. I talked about these Jomon people back to the year 3000 BC. The worship of God in everything was part of their lives. They're superstitious, as almost all ancient peoples were, because they didn't know what made the crops grow or not, or the animals come or
Sure.
not. And 6th century Buddhism came from India through China, through Korea to Japan. And my version, which I don't know is accurate, but I like to tell it anyway, is that the Buddhists showed up and the Shinto were already there. And in Japan, the idea of two religions being there together doesn't bother anybody. In the US, they can't stand the idea of Judaism and Christianity together. But in Japan, and so they cut a deal with the Shinto, said, we're not fighting people. Shinto, we aren't either. So Buddhists take birth and death, and Shinto take everyday life. That was the deal. So that's how it is to this day. And 80% of people are Shinto, 100% are Buddhist, but they're not Buddhist like you think of Buddhists, they don't worship Buddha. What they do is there are ceremonies like Oban in the summertime where you go and get a Buddhist priest, and you go to typically the families, there's no room for bodies. Everybody's cremated and put in these like this could be an old family burial place, very likely. So the cremated bodies are stuffed inside this stone thing. And I've been there for Oban, and everybody gets dressed up in Sunday clothes, suits and ties, and goes here and spends about an hour with a Buddhist monk chanting. Then you go out to dinner. So maybe the U.S. is kind of like that. You go to church and go out for a meal. So the Buddhist monk did his thing, and I went up and said, by the way, do you speak ego wakarimasen? Do you speak English? He said, yeah, I used to live in Los Angeles. So,
Right.
so,
Yeah, thank you, Charlie.
so yeah, so everyone does Buddhism for birth and death. Every death has a big Buddhist ceremony, and people routinely go to Shinto, and there are places you can buy a little wooden block, and you can somewhere in English you can read things like, I want to pass my college exam next year. I want to find my husband soon. I hope my mother gets better. And these things are hung on kind of a stand, and then at the end of the day they're burned up. And so when you go to a Shinto shrine, there's a bell on a rope. You go up there and you can ring the bell and make your prayer. First thing you're supposed to do is throw a coin in the box to wake up the deity and say a little prayer. Look at this garden. Is this amazing or what?
Yeah.
Every bush is manicured. We're back to a bayside now, Matsushima Bay, and we came here to go to a temple.
Can you read in Japanese?
No, the problem is that this. Look at this. This is kanji. These are. This is. I could read this as a sound and a symbol, but these are all Chinese characters, of which there are 4,000.
Oh, okay.
That means no, which means and in English. Ta, wa. I can read some of the sounds, but I don't know what the words mean, and I don't the in between things. I don't think anyone can read this. Thus, how do they spell? A lot of time studying these. By the way, I think if you can learn 300 or 400 of these, you can get most of this understood. These kanji are not sounds; they're images. This is a whole different way of processing information. I wish I had this able to do this, but people read this very quickly. You don't in this symbol, which is the kana, is like English. We make a sound in our mind. We associate the sound with a word, and then we got a word. These are this could be. I know a few of these. Uh, this is person walking. This I don't know, but it could be forest, sunlight, lake. So it's a whole different mental process to read it. Supposedly he did this to help people meditate and get their, because you got to think about when you cross this bridge. You can't just stroll across, your foot go through the hole. This is the Bayside. This was all ravaged by the tsunami. This was on a hilltop. I think this is dates to 1604. I think there's buildings that are this old. It's a Buddhist temple. All over the place, there's things about evacuating when the tsunami comes. The harbor. This is really interesting. This is a Minshuku. A Minshuku is a family home. So Junko picked this because it's owned by a fisherman and it had really high ratings for the meals. So we're using a shared tub and bathroom down the hall. We got our tatami floor, and Junko had asked them to put in Western style beds. They put pads on the floor so the legs don't hurt the tatami mats, and put a little bed in here just for us. And this is one of the most incredible meals I've ever had. It turns out the grandfather's the daily fisherman. I think everything we ate slept in the ocean the night before.
Mhm.
And there's a mushroom, some vegetables. Uh, this is a mushroom, a sashimi.
I see, even being vegan in my case, I could still eat very delicious food in Japan, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, if you just tell them, I'd say Japanese eat more vegetables than anybody. It's a big part of our diet. So you'd have no problem at all. They just leave the protein off, and 70% of the meal's already vegetables. This may have been the most delicious fish I've ever eaten. It was just so good. See, here's vegetables.
Yeah.
Vegetables. This is a sea snail, like a conch.
Mhm.
This is pop edamame. You see that in the U.S.
Yeah.
Octopus. Some. This was breakfast, Japanese style. You always got a piece of fish. This is fish. This is fish roe. That's kind of bean sprouts, seaweed. This is the thing you have at the end of the meal. I love this. These are pickled vegetables. And
Nice.
this whole thing, Larissa, the only thing that's meat is
Yeah.
this.
No, I know I would not only survive, but I thrive
This
on
is
that
nori
food.
for eating.
Nice. Yeah.
This is a two-way street going to this hotel.
Hmm.
Again,
Oh,
I just
wow.
could not get over. I'm not used to this thickness of greenery and woods.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now we're back at another site. A temple bell goes back to 1300.
Can you go back to that bell?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Is that just sitting there and nobody uses it, or somebody actually rings the bell?
somebody rings it, but we're not allowed to. I mean,
Okay.
tourists can't ring it, but
Yeah, otherwise it would be a
monks
big
ring it
mess.
for whatever reason. I think dinner time kind of thing.
Hmm. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, this is a World Heritage Site. This was quite incredible, but again, I couldn't take pictures inside. I couldn't.
Mhm.
Long walk. Typically, these temples are all on hilltops, so you got to walk up the hill to get there. This is a there's no problem finding a bathroom in Japan. They're everywhere. And the idea that you wouldn't let somebody use the bathroom is not in their culture. But I thought this was so nice how they disguised it, made it a beautiful thing with this
Mhm.
shoji screen and just a little sign to tell you it's in here. Just Japanese taste. I thought just really nice way to do the bathroom. 1567, erected in 1636. These dragons. This is the garb of a shogun or a daimyo. This is the little hat they wear. That's these are the upper level of society. Beautiful things. This is a mausoleum, 1600.
Wow,
It's beautiful, isn't it?
it is.
It must be people constantly maintaining this because um, it just looks so brand new. There's people buried inside there.
Mm.
They're ashes. Beautiful. Hmm?
Yeah, it is. I never seen such a happy face. You are the happiest when you're in Japan, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
We're going back in October.
Is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
how
for a month
nice.
this time.
4 month?
Hmm.
Excellent.
A little Buddha there, kind of swimming.
Yeah. Do you think your love for Japan started in your childhood when you were there with your
I
parents?
think it had to, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went back there about 25 years ago, and the old house is still there.
Is that
Realized
right?
that I really was not in a foreign country. I was on a military base, but to me, it felt like a foreign country.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got used to the sound of the music, the taste of the food. Look at this.
Interesting.
Look at this work, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's all wood, right,
It's
Charlie?
all wood. There's the guy that's buried in there.
Mm.
She's playing a koto
Mm.
instrument.
Look at your happiest ever face. My goodness.
It's just kind of fun. A little gift shop. Look at
Yeah.
these places. This is they've done some excavation work. This is where a temple used to be. That's long since burned down. I left the Japanese things in the slides because if we show them to friends, Junko can translate what's there. This is a famous daimyo, and he liked they wear some kind of decoration on their head. This was his choice. This is a gold thing. On the battlefield, you could spot him, and apparently he was okay with that. The samurai that protect him, if they fail to do so, that they commit seppuku, suicide.
Mm.
1441 temple, steep stone stairs. Ah, this is my favorite Japanese garden, not the one before. This blew my mind, this place. This is new. This is built like 20 years ago. The
Mhm.
people still continuing to expand
Yeah.
this place.
Yeah. This lilies on the water reminds me of French painter
Yeah,
Monet. Monet.
Monet, yeah. This is all laid out to have meaning. Look at
Carp in
this.
the pond.
Hmm?
Were there carp in the pond?
Yes, they call them koi.
Go, yeah.
There's always koi.
Is that all preserved architectural style, or there is a still ongoing ongoing building in that style in Japan?
I think only on these historic sites.
Mm. So they don't create anything new in that regard.
Well, I don't know, actually. You do see this in this roof style with this upturned roof kind of, this is a little more exaggerated. Lanterns are very important, the stone lanterns in these gardens. And look at someone trimming these trees, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Who couldn't be happy sitting in here?
You're right. I'm happy just
This
looking at the
this is
pictures.
modern construction here, Larissa. This is built 20 years ago.
Oh, that's what I
And,
was asking for. Yes,
yeah, and it
exactly.
was built you wouldn't see this in downtown Tokyo as an
Mm.
office building, but here it's built to match it's reproducing of something that was here like this in 1400.
Oh, so it's a
Well, we got the
reproduction.
funds to rebuild it.
And what's the purpose of that building? Is it tourist attraction or
No, this is all a Buddhist temple.
Buddhist temple? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
So this is a K car. I've talked about this, these little small cars by the orange license plate. I've never seen a sports car that was a K car.
Mm.
And clean. Here's a guy out here cleaning up this sign. Everything's clean. You see people out in front of their houses in the morning sweeping the sidewalk and the street in front of their house. Look, everything's clean. Everything. This is a Shinto. This is called a Torii gate. This tells you going into a Shinto shrine. And these paper things, I've seen the Shinto blessing automobile engines, for example. They take this on a stick and wave it around, say prayers. They're giving your automobile engine long life because everything's God. The car's God, the trees are God, people are God.
Look at your happiest ever face. My goodness.
So,
It looks like you are there, you are connecting to your inner self, something like that, right?
just extraordinary. And they like to drink, which helps. These are sake barrels.
Yeah.
Uh,
And these are religious sites. Religion, and so this is the entrance to a Shinto shrine. You go up here and take this thing and shake it and ring this bell. Look at the beauty in the work here. Here's how you do it. You throw a coin into the box. You ring the bell to wake up the divine. Bow twice, clap your hands twice, and pray. Bow again to leave. And that's how you say your prayer and get your God to give what you want. Look at this, huh?
yeah, it's beautiful. Charlie and all, my sincere apologies. Sorry, I have to catch up with the post office before it will be closing, so I have to
No
leave.
problem.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you. Frank, we continue on?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. This is really interesting, the Sendai City Museum. So Japan's a country of rules. This is the rules for the museum.
Oh, really?
The city of Sendai. There's this Date guy in his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And they also tried to make them look ferocious. So they put
Mm-hmm.
on the battle masks, they put some things to make it look scary.
Mm.
This stuff dates to 1600s. This is a ceramic thing on the roof ends. Layout of the city. These are all original things. Here's the guy, Mr. Date.
Mm-hmm.
That's a replica sword, and that's an original box from 1600. It's a writing box for calligraphy with your pen and ink in it. These are all originals. Somehow got preserved all these years through the war and everything. These are called munskis. So on your kimono or yukata, you have your family crest. Junko has one for her family that I use. And these are different royal families and the crests of each. And you can see the munskis on here for multiple families on this table. So this was made for a family and a set of in-laws,
Mm-hmm.
custom for their family. Books dating the 1600s. The Shogun made everybody make a map of the area, so this is the map they made. This is a battle flag, so of course in battle you have a flag so you don't kill the wrong people because everybody's dressed pretty similarly. 16th century. And of course, there's beautiful panels everywhere. Life in the 1600s in a city. City layout with water transport routes. This would be a Shinto prayer thing where they've got your prayers written on these wooden blocks. Original sword. These Japanese swords, $25,000 kind of a thing. This might have been ceremonial. I don't know for sure. It's a saddle. Then they mastered shooting arrows, riding on horseback. And this is really interesting. This is news to me. Some people went to Europe in 1613, and this was the route. They left Japan, and they went to Mexico and crossed Mexico, got on a Spanish ship, and went to the Vatican. They were trying to bring Christianity to Japan, these people. And while they were gone, the shogun made Christianity publishing by death. They had no way of knowing until they got back with their big story. There's the Pope they met, picture of the Pope. That's a record of their journey, signed and stamped as it would be. Not going.
What year was that, Charlie?
1613.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had never heard of this. I don't know why this thing's not advancing. Anyway, so since this I don't think so, but this is not the end of it. Let me see what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's probably a good spot to stop for the day anyway. So
Okay.
I'm gonna stop the recording.